Looks like Chris Rock might be done being passive about the Oscars incident, as reports are stating he just might be looking to get Will tried by the state. And even in more surprising news, it looks like the comedian expects the Oscars to take the initiative on legal actions. Did Rock change his mind about the case? Is it because Will is getting off too easy? Over the past few weeks since the mega debacle at the Oscars, Chris Rock has been pretty quiet about where he stands. In fact, no one is really aware of how the entire ordeal affected him, and Rock himself has been almost completely avoiding the subject. But it seems like the Academy's reaction to the ordeal may have triggered him to break his silence. A few weeks ago, the Academy announced that they were launching an investigation on Will Smith, and also that he was slated to face a panel made up of governors from the institution. Upon completing their investigation, the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences Board of Governors decided that Will Smith will not be able to attend the Oscars for 10 years following his behavior at the last award show. The board has decided for a period of 10 years from April 8, 2022, Mr. Smith shall not be permitted to attend any Academy events or programs in person or virtually, including but not limited to the Academy Awards, says MPAS President David Rubin and CEO Don Hudson of Smith's unacceptable and harmful behavior in a letter to the full membership after their contentious virtual meeting ended. We also hope this can begin a time of healing and restoration for all involved and impacted. And while the punishment seemed fair to the Academy, to many other people online it seemed a bit much, and they didn't hesitate to make that known. One user wrote, "Will Smith being banned from the Oscars for 10 years is astounding. They really kept giving awards to known sexual abusers and pedophiles, but a slap is really where they're going to start banning people?" Another user wrote, "A decade of banishment from the Oscars is a ridiculous level of performative decision-making. Was Adrian Brody even chastised for French kissing Halle Berry without consent on stage? The fact that a punishment this big is happening to a black man isn't lost on me either." To some other users, it seemed like a case of racism, as according to them, several other celebrities had done worse and gotten away with it. They wrote, "Will Smith being banned from the Oscars for 10 years is just straight up racism at this point. It was a slap. Not okay to do, an effing slap. Yet they would have let Harvey Weinstein come for decades knowing he raped and took advantage of women for the same amount of time." Although Rock might not be seeing things from the racism point of view, the comedian definitely isn't happy about the outcome of the ordeal, and he even talked about it recently. At his show in the Fantasy Springs Resort Casino in Indio, California, Rock referenced what happened to him at the Oscars, and it was a little surprising to the fans. After a round of applause that went on for close to 2 minutes, he decided to address the elephant in the room, stating that he had a whole show planned before the event and that was what he was going to do. He said, "I'm okay. I have a whole show and I'm not talking about that until I get paid. Life is good. I got my hearing back." However, this isn't even the first time he had directly spoken about the experience. The Madagascar star had previously spoken about it during a performance at the Wilbur Theater in Boston a while back, and even openly disagreed with a heckler who shouted out a negative comment about Will. In the moment, as reported by People, an audience member shouted, "F Will Smith," to which Chris simply replied, "No, no, 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 no," clearly disagreeing with the cursing against the fellow actor. And at the time, we couldn't blame the comedian for sticking up for Smith, as in a strange turn of events, the slap had actually made Chris even more famous and a lot richer than before. According to a source, Chris had handled the situation with Will with such grace and poise, and it is paying dividends. Hollywood just can't get enough of him, and while people are turning away from Will in droves, they're queuing up to see Chris. The source went on to confirm that the dramatic incident at the Oscars did in fact boost ticket sales for his stand-up tour. Information from the ticket exchange and resale company also confirmed his profits, as it reportedly experienced more than 25 times the daily sales each of the 2 days following the event than they had seen in the last month for Rock's tour. Additionally, the average price of tickets sold jumped from between $150 to $200 a ticket to about $250 a ticket. Now that we are 48 hours hours from Sunday evening, it's evident that the demand for Chris Rock shows has jumped dramatically based on our ticket buying trends on StubHub. Mike Silveria, spokesperson for StubHub, told The Hollywood Reporter, "At this stage in his tour, on an average date, we'd expect to see a spike in sales in the 24 or 48 hours prior to a show date as last-minute sales roll in. But it's incredibly unusual to see the spike we've experienced, with daily sales remarkably more than 25 times higher than the average we've seen in the last month. We anticipate this interest will likely sustain for a short time." And while the money from the tickets were still rolling in for the comedian, reports also stated that some big names in the talk show business have been looking to get a sit-down with him and are even offering him huge stacks of money for it. While speaking to the Sun newspaper on Rock's professional life after the incident at the Oscars, an insider said his comedy tour is now sold out for months in advance, and he has added more dates on thanks to the increase in demand. Chris has chosen to hold his tongue for now, and it's not surprising, as there are big money negotiations going on behind the scenes for his first chat. Oprah Winfrey and Ellen DeGeneres have both shown interest in securing the first sit-down interview with Chris about the slap and the aftermath. Despite this, Chris is determined to take his time before committing himself to anything. The source added, "Chris is in no rush and wants to make sure he's in the right place before he agrees to anything. However, it seems like the trajectory of things have changed now, and that Chris might be looking to take legal action even though he previously didn't want to press charges." According to the rumors around town, Chris changing his mind might have had something to do with Will's apology being performative and pretentious. After Will smacked the comedian for making a joke about his wife, Jada's bald head, Will went on to win the Academy Award for Best Actor for his portrayal of King Richard, of which he used his acceptance speech as an avenue to apologize for his earlier behavior. Looking visibly tearful, he said, "I want to apologize to the Academy. I want to apologize to all my fellow nominees. This is a beautiful moment." Though he immediately apologized to the Academy and audience, he failed to mention Chris or issue an apology to him at the same time. He continued, "Richard Williams was a fierce defender of his family," Smith continued. "In this time in my life, in this moment, I am overwhelmed by what God is calling on me to do." He added that love makes you do crazy things, seemingly in reference to his behavior and offering an explanation as to why he slapped Chris Rock. Will also mentioned a remark by fellow actor Denzel Washington. This was shared with him during the break between the incident and Will receiving the award. He relayed, "Be careful at your highest moment. That's when the devil comes for you." And although he did release another apology to Chris via Instagram, several fans had trouble believing the actor was actually sorry. One user wrote, "His PR team started cooking this up 5 seconds after his hand left Chris Rock's face. His best actor speech sounded nothing like this." Another user added, "His best actor acceptance speech was basically, 'I'm sorry that the members of the Academy and the fellow nominees had to see that.' He could have prevented a lot of PR blowback if the first thing out of his mouth when he won was a direct apology to Chris Rock. Instead, he rambles to the effect of how love makes you do crazy things and God told me what to do and say, which apparently included God telling Smith to slap Chris Rock on live TV. A third user too agreed, saying, "Yeah, that was one of the most cringe recovery attempts I've ever seen. What an absolute clown." Obviously, Rock has a lot of people on his side of the rope, but we can't completely rule out the fact that Will is already paying for his actions far beyond the ban from the Academy, as reports have claimed that he's lost some movie deals. However, this might not be enough for Rock, as he might still want his pound of flesh. Seems a bit much, don't you think? Give us your opinion. That brings us to the end of today's video. Until next time.